China faces waves of virus outbreak and the collapse of a ghost metropolis. China is currently grappling with successive outbreaks of viral diseases, painting a grim picture of public health across the nation. Citizens from all regions have spoken out, revealing that hospitals, both large and small, are overwhelmed with critically ill patients. This dire situation is not only placing immense pressure on the healthcare system, but also instilling fear among the public as they witness the sudden and unexpected deaths of people around them. Many pass away quietly in their sleep, leaving shock and grief behind for families and communities. The sight of people collapsing in the streets has become disturbingly common, reflecting the gravity of the ongoing health crisis. Crematoriums nationwide have been forced to expand to meet surging demand, while rural cemeteries are nearing full capacity. By the end of March, residents in various localities told NTD that every major hospital and funeral home in their areas was operating beyond capacity. Mr. Wu, a lifelong resident of Guangzhou, shared his growing unease. People are vanishing, quietly and without warning. The scariest part is it's not just the elderly. I've seen colleagues in their 20s suddenly collapse, no prior illness, no symptoms. One minute they're fine, the next minute they're on the ground. I've passed by parks and subway exits where someone just drops, no one even reacts anymore. It's become part of daily life. In the city of Xiangtan, Hunan province, similar observations are echoing. Ms. Fang, who works at a local grocery store, said, "A neighbor of mine, only 47, collapsed in the kitchen while preparing lunch. Another, just 51, had a stroke during a walk. Neither had health issues. The hospital is full of patients like them, middle-aged, no warning signs, just sudden collapse. But these cases never make the news. Doctors just shake their heads and say nothing." Mr. Luo, from Luyang in Hainan province, painted a darker picture. "It's not just hospitals that are packed. It's funeral homes too. The staff can't keep up. Cemeteries are running out of space, and many families are left without a place to bury their loved ones." Mr. He, who works at the crematorium in Zhengzhou, added, "I visited a friend at the hospital recently. The moment I entered, I saw beds crammed into hallways and stairwells. People were lying everywhere, especially in the respiratory and cardiac units. Even the elevator entrances were blocked by gurneys. We're now cremating faster than ever, but there's no dignity left. Families are no longer allowed to witness the process. It's become mechanical, soulless." He also described his experience during the Spring Festival. "When I went to the cemetery, new plots were being dug non-stop. It felt like the land couldn't keep up with the dead." In Pingxiang, Jiangxi province, Mr. Zhao described a haunting situation. "So many people, between 40 and 60, are dying suddenly, and no one knows why. Cremation is followed by secret burials because there's simply no space left. Even the plots reserved years ago have been claimed. My hometown cemetery is full. Even new ones planned nearby were all pre-purchased by seniors." In Yunnan's Dali city, Miss Lin, a retired teacher, recounted with sorrow, "We've lost several teachers from my old school in just 6 months. Heart attacks, strokes, no warnings. The funeral homes have multiplied and burial costs have doubled, even tripled. You still see people coughing on the street. I keep hearing of this white lung pneumonia. They say it's just the flu, but everyone knows better. I've buried more friends in the past 2 years than in the last 2 decades. Mr. Duan, a long-haul driver from Fujian province, described what he's witnessed from the road. "I drive across provinces and the emptiness is terrifying. Whole towns feel half abandoned. I've lost track of how many funerals I've passed. I used to know dozens of people in my network. Now, most are gone. Friends, cousins, even young co-workers, they've all disappeared. You don't need official numbers. Just open your eyes," he added, his voice heavy. Crematoriums have been upgraded. The process is fast now, too fast. Families are no longer allowed near the cremation chamber. Before, you could at least stand outside. Now they say it's for safety. A few years ago, we had to wait up to 2 weeks to cremate someone. Now, it's all done in a day. It's efficient but soulless. In Wuxi, Jiangsu province, residents disclosed that the number of young and middle-aged patients suffering from white lung and heart disease has increased dramatically in major hospitals. However, the government is suppressing this information. Mr. Chen Wei, a software technician in Wuxi, shared his unease. Lately, I've seen more and more people in their 20s and 30s come down with heart problems, or this thing they call white lung. It's happening so often that it's no longer shocking. Everyone whispers about the real cause, but no one dares to say it openly. The media avoids the topic like the plague. The funeral homes are swamped. But no one is allowed to talk about it. Everything is locked down: news, discussion, even grief. In Jingjin City, once a gleaming symbol of modern ambition and now one of China's eeriest failures, the silence is even louder. Ms. Zhao Lan, a gardener who rented a temporary apartment in the area 4 years ago, described it plainly. Shops open and closed like ghosts. There used to be a pet store just down the street. It was gone within a month. Most storefronts are empty now, with faded signs advertising salons and gyms. It's like time just stopped here. Zheng Peng, a janitor assigned to a newly built community, admitted with a wry smile. "They brought us here just to make the place look alive. That's it. We're basically decorations." Standing tall near the center of this ghost metropolis is the enormous Hyatt Regency with 800 rooms, looking more like a silent castle at twilight. But inside, the reality is sobering. A hotel employee who asked not to be named shared. "Most days we get maybe 100 guests, sometimes 200 if there's an event. That's it. The rest of the time it's like waiting in an empty train station." Just outside the university zone, taxi driver Wang Xiaojun leaned against his car and said matter-of-factly, "This city is finished. There's no life here, no jobs, nothing to do. You'd have to be retired, but not too old, to consider living in this place. Otherwise, it's a dead end." Mr. Li Anfu, a long-time resident of one of Jingjin's villa zones, said the desolation is overwhelming. "Where I live, there are almost 400 villas. In the colder months, maybe 8 to 10 are occupied. In spring or summer, you might see 15 or 20 tops. The rest, just silence behind locked gates." The Jingjin City project was launched back in 2002 by Baodi district authorities in collaboration with Hong Kong-based Hobson Development. It was meant to be one of 11 official satellite cities supporting Beijing and Tangshan. By 2006, it had central government approval, but now, more than 2 decades later, it remains a sprawling, echoing emptiness. 3,000 villas and hundreds of towers, barely inhabited. Hobson's regional manager for Tangshan, Ms. Xie Ying, defended the project's slow rollout. "It takes time to build a city. This isn't just a housing complex. It's meant to be an ecosystem." But that optimism fades quickly when walking through Jingjin's main roads. Deserted, cold, empty storefronts line the way, their displays long since removed. The urban plan called for a 5-star resort, museums, hot springs, temples, golf courses, 2 universities, and entertainment centers. But the only thing it succeeded in building was silence. At the project's sales center, staff claimed that most villas had been sold, yet owners rarely visited. Half of the 53-square-kilometer core remains unbuilt, and another 4,000 villas are still planned, according to sales rep Yang Kang. Most buyers purchased for retirement, vacation, or speculation. During the early years after government approval, amid great public interest, Baodi officials announced ambitious plans to expand Jingjin City to 258 square kilometers, roughly the size of central Tangshan. According to Time Weekly, Hobson Development invested over 20 billion yuan into the project. Xiao noted that at least 1,000 villas had been sold, and the occupancy rate rose 10 to 15% last year. Still, most owners were government officials or senior executives who rarely visited. The streets remained largely deserted. In a revised plan released late last year, Baodi authorities abandoned the 258-square-kilometer expansion, stating that only 53 square kilometers had ever been officially planned. A study by China's National Development and Reform Commission found at least one such ghost city project in every province and autonomous region. Compared to ever-expanding urban districts in major cities, these empty zones lack businesses, jobs, and essential infrastructure, deterring relocation. The area adjacent to the villa complex was empty when we arrived. A local worker told us that only a few people had moved in over the years. Known as Shangjiang Health Town, this area was planned to include over 10,000 homes, ranging from townhouses to high-rises. From above, the neighborhoods appear dense, yet almost uninhabited. The upscale townhouse zone consists of 26 buildings that could house over 500 families. Although some communities were built over a decade ago, proper schools never followed, making it difficult for families. Medical infrastructure is scarce, with only a private clinic and pharmacy. Shopping options are limited to basic supermarkets. There are no gyms, parks, cinemas, or modern entertainment. Nearby, several high-rise buildings stand half-finished, likely stalled indefinitely. Some appear complete from outside but remain unfinished inside. Online sources confirm delays in multiple developments. Many buildings over 30 stories contain only compact one-bedroom units with a tiny bathroom and kitchen. Despite low prices, just over 3,000 yuan per square meter, the area's deficiencies have kept it lifeless and largely uninhabited, and this desolation has persisted for decades, symbolizing the failure of China's urban planning model.